What's going on, everyone? Welcome into Titans Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, borrowing 10-15 minutes of your time, if you don't mind, running through some minicamp winners and losers. Now, they're not really big winners or big losers, but it's kind of a fun way to break down the 3-day mandatory practice. So let's get started with our first winner, and that is Malik Willis. And he needs a win because I'm not quite sure if he's completely on the outside looking in for this 53-man roster. But if Tennessee decides to only carry 2 quarterbacks onto their final 53-man roster, then he's definitely the odd man out. Now, he has looked a lot better this offseason than he did last year during the regular season, which was a nightmare, basically, for Malik Willis. Now, it is just off-season practices, but you still like to see the improvement, right? Now, I'm not sure if Tennessee wants to carry 3 quarterbacks. Most teams only go with 2 these days, but some do every once in a while, and if they see an improvement in Malik Willis, they may very well stick him on their 53-man roster because, well, they could lose him to another team if he's on the practice squad. Now, by a lot of reports from all across the globe, Willis has looked much sharper during minicamp than he did during the regular season. Here's what Jim Wyatt, the team reporter, said. Willis has been more decisive this offseason, and he's getting the ball out quicker as a result. Willis connected with receivers Reggie Roberson Jr. and Tre'Shaun Harrison for touchdowns in the first team period of practice, and he also threw a completion to receiver Racey McMath, who later let a catchable ball from Willis go off his hands. Willis tucked the football and ran it for a score late, which sparked another celebration. I'm sorry to be a bit of a rain cloud, and I'm being that guy right now, but it is flag football. The offenses are supposed to do well. When they don't do well, that's more concerning than the defense is great, right? If the offense is struggling in OTAs and minicamp, the reaction shouldn't be, oh, we've got a great defense on our hands. No, it should be maybe the panic button should come out a little bit despite it only being June, because when it's flag football and there's no pass rush and the quarterback can't get touched, you should go pretty close to perfect because you have all the time in the world. Willis last year was, let's be honest, abysmal, right? A lot of blame can be passed around. It's still crazy to think how the Titans were very close to beating the future Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, and only lost in overtime. Shout out to Mike Vrabel for getting this team to spots where they really had no business in being. But Willis needs to have a big improvement in year 2. So what do you guys think? Will Malik Willis end up making this 53-man roster? I'm not going to be shocked if Tennessee rolls with 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. But if Willis looks the same as he did last year, I don't know if the Tennessee Titans with a new GM are going to feel compelled to hold on for Willis just because, well, he was a day 2 quarterback pick last year. Do we really want to give up on him this quickly? Go talk to Kellen Mond about that because the Vikings cut their 3rd-round pick just 1 season later. My first loser, it's not really a loser, the injured folks. This is more of just an injury update for you guys, and unfortunately, some of these guys do need to show up and earn their spot maybe on the depth chart, not so much on their roster. But we did have 8 players who were not spotted at minicamp. Doesn't mean they were skipping, injury, excused absence, or working with trainers elsewhere. Dylan Radunz, Trevon Wesco at tight end, Tier Tart, Harold Landry's working back from an injury he sustained last year. Sam O, Caleb Farley, Christian Fulton, and Josh Thompson all were not spotted at minicamp. To zero in on one of those 8, and you can probably guess who it's going to be, the former first-round pick out of Virginia Tech, Caleb Farley. So Mike Vrabel said that Farley is now lifting weights following his back surgery. Remember, he suffered a herniated disc in Week 10 after the Broncos win, which ended his 2022 season. Now, unfortunately, we have not seen a ton out of Mr. Farley, right? Limited to just 12 out of 34 games so far in his career. So availability has not been a very good ability for Farley, and you'd like to at some point see him back on the field. It's just minicamp. It's only June. If we don't see him until August, that's okay. But at what point do you draw a line in the sand going, we need to have Caleb Farley back in this lineup because training camp turns into preseason, and preseason turns into week 1, and then it's just a repeat of his first 2 seasons so far. So Farley not at minicamp. There's another week of OTAs. Not optimistic that he'll be back on the field then, but that is the latest injury update on number 3. Now, speaking of OTAs, there'll be more of those next week, so make sure to subscribe as we break down the latest organized team activities for everyone. Don't miss a thing when it comes to your Tennessee Titans when you hit that sub button. Plus, it's completely free. So if you don't like it, well, then you can just unsubscribe. It's pretty much a win-win if you ask me. My second winner, the running backs, not Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's always a winner. Derrick Henry will go down as a winner. But some of the new guys on the block, Tyjae Spears, he had a touchdown. He got picked up by his offensive line. The third-round pick or second-round pick, day 2 pick, whatever, coming out of Tulane was phenomenal for the Green Wave, and I think he can be a great change of pace back for the Tennessee Titans this year. Great in pass protection as well. So Tyjae Spears is rocking and rolling early on. Jonathan Ward, by the way, this is a name to keep an eye on because he's not a household name, even in the volunteer state, but the guy's been making some plays. Like, I don't know how to quantify it because there's no stats really that come out of OTAs or minicamp, but if you want to sound smart at the bar, just mention Jonathan Ward as someone to put your tickler file. Just store that for later because when the preseason rolls around and the pads are on and they get to go 100% against another team, Ward could be a guy that turns some heads. Now, when you look at the Tennessee Titans running back room, it's got a lot of great pieces in my opinion. Derrick Henry, Tyjae Spears, Hassan Haskins enters year 2, and then you've got Ward, who we just identified also as a sleeper to maybe make this 53-man roster and surprise some people. Now, it's only June. Every single year, there are these great Cinderella stories that we talk about, and then the regular season rolls around, and oh yeah, Derrick Henry gets the lion's share of the workload, and maybe these guys get 1 or 2 touches in the entire season. We've got some more winners and losers to get to in just a moment, but there is an awesome deal right now waiting for everyone. A t-shirt hat combination on sale. So you get the t-shirt, and you get the hat, and it's on sale. So 3 wins if you ask me by going to chatsports.com/10combo. TEN combo. That link's in the comments and the description of today's show. Fanatics is always running these sales, but they don't always last forever, so don't wait on it. If you want it, get it right now before the deal ends. Chatsports.com/10combo. Second loser-ish, Ryan Tannehill. I have a loser, not really a loser, but I did want to talk about the quarterbacks, and this is sort of my backdoor way of doing so. So, Tannehill's leash has just never been shorter in Tennessee, if you ask me, right? And he has to show out, and he has to look great in glorified flag football. Like, these are spots where, as a veteran, you have to be perfect. You got to go throw touchdowns. There can't be some rocky waves when it comes to 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s with no pads, and you don't get sacked. Like, you have to ball out. Now, a win for Ryan Tannehill was this tweet here. Target practice, they did some footwork drills, and then they threw it into a net. And Ryan Tannehill beat out Malik Willis and Will Levis in this drill. So Levis and Willis did some push-ups while Ryan Tannehill stood and watched. And Tannehill needs all the wins he can get. He needs to go into the season feeling like he is the QB1, knowing that his leash is a bit short, but not someone breathing down his neck and making him a bit nervous. Not coming off a spectacular year. The team really missed him, right? It showed down the stretch, but 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in 12 games. And after his real, true breakout elite season of 2020, he has slowly come down to earth with the touchdown to interception ratio not being even close to what it was back in 2020. So, off the wall question here. Who do you think gets more starts in 2023? Ryan Tannehill or Will Levis? I'm leaning towards Tannehill, but you do have to wonder if the Titans are down by 2 scores in week 5 or something and it's going into the half, is Vrabes going to sit down 17 and give the ball to number 8? Would not be surprised if that's the case. So who do you think ends up starting more games this upcoming season? I'm going to go with Ryan Tannehill, but let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Third and final winner before we get you guys on your way to enjoy the rest of your weekend. Got a kicker battle here, and Caleb Shudak is our third and final winner. So a kicker competition is brewing in Nashville right now. Shudak went a perfect 7 for 7. Now, if you don't remember, he was the player who filled in for Randy Bobandy in the Bengals game, I think it was last year. He went like 3 of 4, had a couple PATs or whatever, and then afterwards, Fat Randy took over, put him back on the practice squad, signed him to a future contract, and now he is competing with UDFA Trey Wolf coming out of Texas Tech, who went 6 for 7 during the 3-day minicamp session. He is 29 of 32 from all available open practices. When the media is not there, we don't know how many kicks are made or missed, but when the media is there, we do get to keep a running tally going. So this kicker battle is going to go into training camp. It really might come down to one of the final preseason games unless one of these two guys gets the yips. Thank you all so much for tuning in, taking time out of your day to make us your Titans YouTube spot. If you're looking for the latest news and rumors, you have found it when you subscribe.